Alright, what is up YouTube? It's RSMario here, bringing you another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Okay, I had a completely different video planned for today. Of course, whenever I plan a video, somebody decides, it doesn't look like Mario's doing anything. Let's drop some leaks. Let's give him something to do real quick. So, of course, if you want to continue getting videos like this from me, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, do all that good stuff that YouTube requires you to do. To continue getting videos like this from me, follow me at twitter.com/rsmario128. Like that video tweet, share that video tweet, and I will shout you out right here at this portion of the video. Alright, so no time for a big fancy intro today because, of course, I am late to this because, I had already made a video for today, and I had it already edited up. All I had to do was do a thumbnail, drop, boom, and it just didn't work out that way. It just didn't work out that way. So we're gonna get right into it. So before we do this, now if you want full context, you might want to check out my previous leak video that I did where I talk about the Chinese uncle coming back and the leak that he dropped, and I go more into that in that video. That'll give you more context on what I'm about to tell you here. Alright, so we're going to start off with Riddler Q. So Riddler Q starts off this whole process. So he starts dropping leaks, right? The first one was this QR code. Turns out that the QR code actually was an old QR code from Generation 5 for Dino. Alright, so Dino, is Generation 5 Pokemon that evolves into Hydreigon. The second one was this Doduo foot. I said Dodrio in the last video, my bad. It's actually a Doduo foot. So, the first one was Dino, the second one was Doduo. The third one was this one right here. This is one of the newer ones that I did not cover because it came out after I did my video. So this one has a bunch of nuts and bolts in it, and it says third one. So that's the third one. So Dino, Doduo, nuts and bolts. Okay. Alright, so then the last one that he dropped this morning was this one. Alright, it was this weird pattern, right? This is the fourth one. So now I thought this was kind of like, everybody thought this was like Togekiss, right? This was like referencing Togekiss because the triangles, the color palette, it all kind of references Togekiss, right? Turns out that's not true. So if you look it up, it's actually a pattern for a Pokemon shirt of Probopass. So turns out that's what that is. So 4 leaks. So Dino, 4 hints anyway. So it's Dino, Doduo, the nuts and bolts, and Probopass. So what do these all connect to? Well, a lot of people thought he was counting down to something, but he wasn't counting down. He was actually counting up. So this would have all been in reverse if he was counting down. So he was counting up to something, or he was just setting up these numbers as the actual leak itself. So, well, what does all these Pokemon have in common? Well, Dino has 1 head, Doduo has 2 heads. The nuts and bolts probably are a reference to Magneton, which has technically 3 heads because it's 3 magnetites together into a Magneton. And then the 4th one is Probopass, which technically has 4 faces. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's pretty interesting all by itself, but then it gets a little deeper. So there is another person by the name of Maori that actually popped up with another theory here. So they say all the hinted Pokemon lines can learn Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack basically is an old school attack from Generation 1 that I believe it does fire, electric, and ice damage all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It's a normal attack, but it can burn, paralyze, or freeze you. But it's a normal attack though. And I believe that back in the day, this was actually the signature move of Porygon. You know what I'm saying? But it also kind of sort of represent the legendary birds, because again, this is Generation 1. So the legendary birds, Moltres, Zapdos, Articuno, fire, electric, and ice. The other thing it represents to connect to all this Generation 5 stuff is the 3 dragons. So Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem. Reshiram's Dragon Fire, Zekrom's, Dragon Electric, Kyurim's, and Dragon Ice, right? Okay. So basically, this whole thing is a hint to more Generation 5. And there's been a lot of Generation 5 hints going around lately, particularly the one I covered yesterday or the other day in the other video from the Chinese uncle. So then the Chinese uncle chimes back again. He decides to get more talkative again. And remember, the Chinese uncle is not Riddler Q. They're two different people. So the Chinese uncle is a completely different Chinese insider, you know what I'm saying, than Riddler Q. They're both Chinese insiders, but they're two different people. You know what I'm saying? I think the Riddler Q account is run by a group of people, but we just kind of call them one person. But they're two completely different people. So the Chinese leaker only posts on Weibo, which is Chinese social media, and they dropped this. So this has been translated, and it says, what is the paradox of Black and White? And then it says, reply by this person. It says, is it a game developed by Game Freak himself? And is it not a legendary series? It can be understood as Black and White 3. Alright, and so then the other person said, who said this exists? So basically hinting that Black and White 3 is going to be the next game. Which is kind of interesting. It kind of makes sense, to be honest. Because, I mean, if you wanted to kind of like keep with the spirit of that like generation, like that was the first generation where they had a sequel and not necessarily like a third game. Because third games weren't really sequels per se, right? Because like Crystal was more like an expansion of the Gold and Silver story. Same thing with Pokemon Yellow. Same thing with Platinum and Emerald. All of them were kind of like expansions of whatever the story was in that original generation of games. But Black and White 2 was actually a completely different game. It was a sequel. So it took place later in that timeline. Like time passed between Black and White 1 and Black and White 2. So, I mean, it would only make sense to kind of continue with that spirit of that game, which I think is pretty interesting. And of course, this kind of puts to rest all those rumors that, all that fear that everybody, oh my God, we're going to have to play another Ilka game. I hate Ilka because of the chibis, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you can put those rumors to rest now, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, take it with a grain of salt. This is Chinese social media. We don't hear from the Chinese uncle that much anymore. So, again, take it with a grain of salt. But what do you think about the potential of there being a Black and White 3? Are they going to do another time skip? Like, are they going to introduce some of the aspects from you know what I'm saying, from Scarlet and Violet? Are there going to be Terras? Are we going to get Terras? I don't know. Tell me in the comments down below. And like, comment, subscribe. As always, people, keep it real for this old last minute video.